Being 6 o'clock, pursuant to Standing Order 38, the question that this House do now adjourn is deemed to have been made. The member for Chatham-Kent Essex has given notice of dissatisfaction with the answer to the question given today by the Minister of Community and Correctional Services. The member has up to 5 minutes to debate the matter, and the Minister or Parliamentary Assistant may reply for 5 minutes. The member from Chatham-Kent Essex.
Thank you very much, Speaker. On May 3rd, 2016, the Ministry of Community Safety issued a news release announcing the installation of scanners. This release provided the original timeline for scanner installation. Now, this was something that PC leader Patrick Brown and I had called for, along with OPSU, of course, and so we were very supportive of this action. It was the right thing to do. However, there have been issues with the delivery of this promise. The news release issued at the time stated, and I quote, "The first 11 scanners are scheduled to be installed by the end of March 2017. In an attached backgrounder, Elgin Middlesex Detention Centre's main facility was listed as one of the first 11 installations. The Elgin Middlesex Regional Intermittent Centre was scheduled to receive its scanner the following year. Now, at some point, a bit of revisionist history came into play, and the government backed away from its original promise to have a scanner installed at EMDC's main facility by the end of this very month. Now, the new minister's office is saying that the scanner is prioritized for installation in the fall of 2017. I just can't understand how something can be prioritized for installation later than the original promise to have it installed. When did the government remove EMDC's main facility from the high priority list of facilities to receive scanners by March 2017? In light of an overdose death last November, I think it's entirely reasonable to ask. And then, Speaker, I now move on to the billion-dollar hellhole, Toronto South Detention Centre. That's not my quote, but that was Toronto Life's quote, the magazine. I encourage every member of the legislature to read Toronto Life's article on this jail. It's heartbreaking, and we must learn from it. Sheldon Small is a correctional officer at the jail that I have had the opportunity to get to know over the past couple of years. He showed true courage by speaking out for better conditions for his brothers and sisters in corrections, as well as calling for better treatment of inmates. He saw what happened when I first raised serious safety concerns and when all staff were issued a memo to stay quiet or risk losing their jobs. He knew the risks and did the right thing. These people, Speaker, are true heroes. He commented on the government's naive plan for this jail as well as the violent, dangerous conditions in Toronto South and its impact on morale. He was quoted as saying, and I quote, "This was supposed to be a cheaper jail with less cost and less staff to run it. The inmates were supposed to be more compliant, but they forgot to tell the inmates that," unquote. He added, and I quote again, "If you're an officer and there's a guy on your unit who has assaulted 12 of your friends, would you feel like coming in tomorrow?" Unquote. Now imagine if you were assaulted and no records were in fact kept. Speaker, Toronto South's problems are hard to fathom in a brand new facility. Mold problems started within the first year. Unbreakable windows were broken and over 1,000 panes of glass were replaced. Software systems broke down, leaving alarms non-functional. The decision to understaff the facility by trying out a supervision model never before seen in Ontario was reckless and a typical example of Liberals knowing better than the experts. Staff were concerned that the direct supervision model would put inmates and staff alike at increased risk, and they had to be proven right. Auditor General Jim MacArthur warned in 2008, Speaker, that the government had not undertaken the necessary formal studies to determine whether this experimental supervision model was suitable for Ontario's inmate population and corrections system. Specifically, he warned that the use of a direct supervision model, and I quote, "may significantly affect its operating costs and the health and safety of its staff and inmates," unquote. In an attempt to save money, the Liberal government may cost the province nearly and dearly. A $1 billion class action lawsuit is being prepared against the Ontario government on behalf of all inmates who have experienced staffing-related lockdowns. So in conclusion, Speaker, the government ignored frontline staff who warned them about the dangers of trying this experimental model. The Liberals even ignored the Auditor General's warning. They even ignored my question asking why they dismissed so many warnings. So sadly, we cannot ignore the blood that is spilled due to these hellish conditions. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. The member from Scarborough Southwest and Parliamentary... Oh, sorry, it's someone else. There you go. The member from Scarborough Agincourt.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'm pleased to rise to respond to the member from Chatham-Kent Essex. Our government is on track with the installation of full body scanners in all the 26 adult provincial correctional facilities by 2018. This is all part of the correctional reform to further improve the staff and inmate safety, reducing contraband and enhancing security. As mentioned this morning, Mr. Speaker, we can confirm that 11 body scanners are currently installed in the Ontario jails. I know that our correctional staff are very pleased with the success of the body scanner in detecting contraband and preventing these items from entering our institutions. I would like to note that the installation of body scanner at a number of correctional facilities, including the EMDC, requires some renovation work to accommodate the new equipment and its use. When a body scanner is brought into the institution, Mr. Speaker, it cannot simply be installed in any nearest facility or anywhere in the facility. The scanner must be placed in a manner that upholds the security for staff while maintaining the continuity of operations within the facility. We know the importance of installing a body scanner at the EMDC, which is why we have ensured that it will be installed by the fall of 2017. The Minister is committed to the safety and security of both the staff and the inmates. The EMDC now has approximately 350 new security cameras and 6 additional metal detectors in addition to the upcoming full-body scanner. We have also invested $33 million annually to address immediate priorities in our system as a whole, including $14.8 million for capital improvements, Mr. Speaker. These initiatives will better allow correctional officers to identify inmates attempting to bring contraband into our correctional facilities. Enhancing security in our facilities across the province is a key part of the government's transformation of Ontario's correctional system to build safer communities. I know the member opposite also brought up additional concern with another one of our facilities this morning, Mr. Speaker. The Toronto Self-Detention Centre was specifically designed to include the newest practices in the field of correctional services. This is important as we evolve our understanding of corrections as a whole. There are 54 dedicated rooms to program to help inmates deal with drug and alcohol problems or anger management issues. There are also 6 classrooms for inmates learning, as well as indoor and outdoor smudging areas for Indigenous inmates, and 2 multi-faith worship rooms. Rehabilitation is an essential part of our correctional systems, and these initiatives, Mr. Speaker, aid in achieving this. Minister Lalonde visited the TSDC just last month and saw a number of positives and great potential for the design and layout of the facility. She also notes that there is still a lot of work to be done, including at the other correctional facilities. One of the biggest issues the minister noted are the staffing levels. We know our facilities need more correctional officers, nurses, maintenance staff, and cleaning staff, Mr. Speaker. Increased staffing levels would help better maintain safety, security, and well-being of our inmates, as well as alleviate the pressures our existing staff are feeling. This is why we're committed to hiring an additional 2,000 correctional officers since 2013. We have since deployed 1,482 new correctional officers to our correctional facilities. An additional 137 are expected to graduate this month alone, Mr. Speaker. Our government has also created an additional 58 mental health nurse positions to provide specialized services to inmates. At the same time, we are ensuring that all new correctional officers now receive core training to help them better care for inmates with mental illnesses. These are just some of the ways we are continually reforming our correctional systems. Ultimately, the safety, security, and well-being of our staff and inmates are the greatest consideration in any decision our government makes or has made to our correctional system. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.